Hi guys, welcome to Telex Academy. My name is Faisal and I'll be taking you on introduction to Git. In this video, I will be walking you through the basics of Git. Now, what is Git actually? Git is just a powerful version control system that actually helps developers to manage and track changes in their code. Now, whether you're working solo or you're actually collaborating with a team, Git is a very essential tool for you as a developer. So let's jump into our slide to actually understand what Git is all about. So what is Git? Git is a distributed version control system for tracking changes in source code during software development. Now look at it this way. Git is actually designed to undo like everything from like small projects to like very large projects with speed and efficiency. It actually allows you to like keep track of your code changes. Then it even allows you to like collaborate with other developers. Like those are the benefits of using Git. Now the collaboration now, when we talk about the collaboration is like you working with other developers, but this time around you don't actually need to see each other physically before you can actually like get the changes he or she has already done. With Git, I can actually like get any change I want. Let's say I'm working with someone that is in Abuja or something. I'm in Lagos. Now let's say how the two of us can work. Now for us to like work on one project and have the real time change now, we need to like use Git to collaborate. So when it's done with this with this code, he actually pushes it. Then me too, I do my own, then I actually push it, I push my own also. Now for history now, I can actually like track everything like I can track the current code, like who wrote it, and where error is coming from or something. And I can actually like revert. Let's say there's an error in the code already. Now let's say it's causing a blocker for every single person. Now I can actually revert back to like the old change and remove from the current change. Now the branching now branching is like experimenting without affecting the main code base. Now look at it. Imagine this. I'm trying to work on a project with people now. Now, for me not to like affect the main code base, meaning like let's say the master branch or something. Now, for me not to affect that kind of thing, I need to like actually like branch out, like create a branch for myself. Now, when I create a branch for myself now, anything that happens in my branch doesn't affect the whole code base. It actually affects only mine. But now if I'm working on the main code base itself, let's say there are some codes I'm not sure of, then I just wrote it and actually and I let's say I put it on the main code base now. What is going to happen is to cause error for everybody. But when I try to for my branch and I see it's working now, I can actually just merge together with it. Now, unlike centralized version control system like e.g. SVN, which is Apache subversion, Git allows every developer to have a full copy of the project history. Now I can have the history of the whole project, like the push, the commit, and all. I can actually like see everything when you use Git. Now to install Git now, you go to for Windows, you can download Git for Windows and follow the installation wizard. Then if you're using Mac, you can install via Homebrew, saying brew install Git. Then if you're using Linux, let's say you're using Ubuntu or something, you say sudo apt get install Git. And you're using Fedora, you say sudo dnf install Git. Then to confirm whether you have Git running, you say Git version. Now for the Windows, let's see how we can get our Git. So come here now. So you can just come here and say Git. Now we're having this. Now I'm trying to download for Windows. Now this is it. I'm downloading for 64-bit window or 32-bit and all. So the same thing applies to like the Mac and Linux operating system. So once you've done that now, to actually confirm whether you have Git on your computer now, you need to do this. You need to say Git, then version in the terminal to confirm whether it's been installed. Now I could try that out here this way. I could say let's open my terminal, then so I'll say git hyphen version, right? Now it's telling me I have Git installed already. So it's telling me I have the Git version of what 2.39. Now this is how you check whether you are actually what installed Git on your computer. Now coming back to it, now we say, so coming back to it, we'll be looking into basic Git commands. Now we just saw how to like install Git and actually confirm whether Git is actually what installed. Now, so before you can use any of these commands and all, for it to work, you actually need Git installed. That's why I asked us to what install first. Now, the very first thing you're seeing on the list now is what Git init. What does it do? It's used to what initialize what a new Git repository. Now, when you say Git clone, then the next thing you add to it is what the URL. This is to use what? This is to clone an existing repository. Now, when you say Git status, now it's actually used to change check the status of what of changes. Now, when you say Git add, then certain file you want to add, this stage changes for what a certain commit. Now, for the Git commit, now Git commit is like commit changes with what with a message. Now, for the Git push, now we say what this actually what pushes the changes to what to the remote repository, and when we say Git pull, it actually fetch and merge changes from what from the remote repository. Now let's see this. So we said working with repositories now. To creating a repository now, Git init is just what create a new repository. Now when we say cloning a repository, now we say Git clone. This is actually used what to copy an existing what repository. Now local versus remote repositories. When you say you have a local repository, this is your own, like you own it, it's on your machine. But when you say a remote repository now, this guy is actually like online, like hosted on platforms like GitHub. Now, so let's see how this guys works. Now, you can have this. Let's say I create a folder here. Let me name it Git. Now, I come here and I say this. Okay. So yeah, I say Git init. Create what? It creates as what a Git repository for me. Initialize a Git repository for me. Now Git init, then enter. Now it says it initialized what empty Git repository, right? Now the next thing you saw there was what Git clone, that you clone an existing repository. Now you come to our Chrome. Now let's say this. Let's say github.com, right? So I could like pick a repository I actually like want to work upon. So let's say this. Sorry. Okay, this is a repository. Then let's say I want to clone this guy. Now click on this part where I see code now. Now you can see HTTPS, SSH, GitHub CLI. But what we need actually is what the HTTPS. Now just copy, right? Now you come back to your terminal. Let's say this. So we said git what git clone. Then what the URL. Now upon doing this now, what's telling me? I'm cloning to what portfolio. Now automatically now this portfolio becomes what a folder in my current folder, right? So it brings everything about that portfolio to what to my folder. Every single file it contains, it brings it to what to my folder for me. Now let's see how this runs out. Now as you can see, everything is now complete. Now if I say ls, you can see it's telling me I have a folder in it called what portfolio. Now let's say I want to view it. Let's say on Git on VS Code. So code dot. Now as you can see inside the folder called Git, I have another folder called what portfolio. Now this folder now consists of what every single thing from what that repository, the image, the style, JavaScript, the index, the HTML, and what the readme file. Now the next part we have now is about branches. Sorry about this. Now the next part we have is about branches, branching and what merging. Now when we talk about branches now, these are what independent lines of what developments. Now I can say what git branch to what create a new branch, git branch, then space the branch name, then I could say git checkout of the what of that certain branch to switch to what a new branch. Now if we're talking about merging now, merge is like bringing changes from one branch to another branch, so just joining them together. Now sometimes these guys can cause conflicts. We'll later talk about that. Then if you have to like delete a branch, you say what, git branch, then d. Now let's try every one of these guys out. Now coming back to GitHub, as you can see, how many branches are we having here? Just one. Now I'm going to try to, so we'll be seeing how to like add other branches to it. Now let's go back to our terminal to actually see how this guy works. Now in my terminal now, remember to create a branch, you say what, git branch, right? Then the name of the branch. Now I can't do it inside this folder called git, so I need to like change my directories. I'll say cd or what, portfolio, right? I'm inside this folder already. Now I'll say git branch. Git branch, I could say like Faisal branch. Abi? This way, I already created what, a branch. Now I've created what, my branch. Now let's say I'm opening it on VS Code. Oh, I already have it here already. Okay. Now, as you can see now, it's telling me something. Sorry. So, okay. So now it's telling me something. It's telling me that I'm actually what, on the what, master branch. Now if I click on this guy now, I can see like different branch and all. I'm coming, let me refresh this guy. Now it is fully loaded. As you can see, it's telling me that I'm in what, I'm in the branch of what, of main. I'm in the main branch, right? Now remember we said that the git checkout actually does what, it actually what, switches branch. Now to switch my branch now, I just come back to my terminal and I say git checkout. Then I could be like Faisal branch, right? Now as you can see, what it tells me is telling me that I've already switched to what, Faisal branch. Now coming back here now, it should have switched. Now as you can see, sorry, what having here, we're having what, Faisal branch here, right? Now we're having what, two different branches. Now imagine I need to do something. Now let's say I make a change here. Let's say this. Okay, let's say this is my portfolio project, right? I'll say full stop. Now as you can see, it's showing me a letter here, meaning that it's been modified already. Now if I want to do something now, I could say this. I could say git merge, right? Now the git merge actually does something. Remember I said it's made changes from what, one branch to what, to into another. Now if I come back here now and say this, let me check out back to the main branch, right? Now if I now say this, git merge. Now what's the branch name? Faisal branch. Right? Now it's telling me that what, it's already what, up to. Now as you can see, we're having this, right? So come back to my terminal. Abi, yeah, my terminal, and say this, git checkout main, right? As you can see, your branch actually what, up to do with what, the origin of what, of main. Now if I come into this guy now, it should load now. As you can see, the readme file is also what's updated already. This is what, my portfolio project. Everything has what, been merged together. Now the next thing we have is actually what, to delete a branch. Now I could say this, git branch, right? Git branch. Then I could say -d the name of the branch, which is what Faisal underscore branch. Now, as you can see, it's telling me that what it has already deleted what the branch called what Faisal branch. So the next thing we'll be looking into now is the Git workflow now. Now, for a basic workflow now, the very first thing you need to do is what? Clone the repository, where I say git clone. Then now the next thing is what? To make changes. Then the next thing is what? Stage changes, where I say git add, git commit, git push, and what? Git pull. Now, let me show you how to use these guys there. So now VS Code, you can see there's actually a change here already, right? Now if I come back to my terminal now and I say this git add, try what stage change. Now say git add, then let's say git add dot. Now this guy now actually what stage the what actually stage the changes. And if I say git status, now it's telling me that what my branch is up to date, but now there's something that needs to be committed, which is what the readme.md. Why? Because I already added it as a what I've already staged it for a commit. Now the next thing for me to do now is what the git commit, whereby I say git commit, then the commit message I want to add. Then I'll be like, let's say I just updated the readme file, right? This way. So I press enter. Now what's telling me now? One file change, one insertion, then what's one deletion. So what's the deletion? This branch I actually deleted. Then the insertion is this guy. Now when I say this git push, what does it do? It pushes it online, pushes to what? To GitHub. Now upon doing this now, should load. Now as you can see, it's telling me that what it has already updated it to what? To the HTTPS of what? github.com/20, the same place where we actually cloned it from. Now let's go back to our GitHub to see whether our changes is there. Now we're here, let us refresh and see. Now as you can see, it's telling me out all these guys are last year. These are the commits of what last year, but now this is just a minute ago, which I just said I just updated the readme file. This is how easy it is to use Git. Now for the next part, whereby I talk about collaboration workflow. Now the first thing is to fork the repository on the GitHub, then clone the fork, then make changes and push to your fork, then open a pull request on GitHub. Now to resolve conflicts, now remember I said when you merge, that sometimes conflict occurs. Now merge conflict occur when changes in two branches conflicts. There might be something it might change in my own let's say my own branch, and there's a change in someone else's branch. Now when two of us are trying to merge our branches together, there's something that I've written that is actually conflicting with what the other person has written. Now to actually solve this guy, now we actually do this. We actually identify conflicts using git status. When you say git status, now it shows you the status of your Git repository. Now remember I used it there. Now it showed me the status of my repository in this sense here, right? It allowed me to know what I've actually done. Now the same thing it does here. Now it lets you know where the conflict is actually happening. Now I can open conflicting files and manually resolve them. I can open them when I find, let's say I know that the conflict is coming from readme, or let's say index.js or something. I can actually easily go into that file and actually find the conflict. Now the stage resolve the conflict, you can see after you have done it, after you have already resolve the conflict, now you say git add, just like when you're trying to before you when you're trying to stage a commit, right? Now after you're done, you actually commit the change before you can actually push. Now for you to not have issues with conflicts, the best thing is for you to communicate with your team all the time, and always pull changes to stay updated, because there are sometimes your code might not be updated with what the current one. Let's say 2 days, 3 days you haven't pushed, and there have been like multiple change. So the moment you're trying to like push or merge together now, it's actually going to what cause conflicts. Now this is where we'll be stopping with Git. Then we'll look into GitHub itself. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for to get better content, to get more great content. Thank you. Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So we'll be looking into GitHub. So what's GitHub? We said GitHub is a popular web-based platform for version control using what Git. To create a repository, you actually need to navigate to your GitHub account, then click on what new to create a new repository and follow the prompt. Now to push your code to GitHub, you can add the remote repository whereby you're saying git remote add origin, then the URL of the origin, then push your changes with what git push origin of what of main. Also managing repositories on GitHub include cloning, forking, and creating pull requests to contribute to what other projects. This is how GitHub actually works. So now let's navigate to actually see how the full thing happens. Now coming to my browser, now I navigate to GitHub whereby I say github.com. So I already have an account on GitHub, so we could just do the same, create an account and all. Now to do this, now I can actually just come here, let's say to my profile. Sorry. So I can come here now. I have these my repositories. Now I could just click on new, right? But if I don't go through this now, on the very first page where you have been brought when you log into GitHub, you can actually see this part here where it says start a new repository for my username. Now I could just create a repository name. Now your repository name can be anything of your choice, doesn't matter, but make it sensible, make it something that is related to your project. Now let's just say let me call it like git class, right? Now it checks if that name is available in your repository. Let's say you haven't created any repo that has the same name, just like in your VS Code, the same way you're trying to like create a file, use index.js. It's not possible for me to have another file called index.js in that same directory. I have to like create another directory before I can use that name. So the same thing. Now you're seeing these two things, public and private. Now if you read closely, you see when you use public, it means anybody on the internet can see what this repository. But if you are using private, you can actually what choose who to see and who can commit or push your repository. Now let's just use public, so I want everybody to see. Now the next is what create a new repository, right? But this part now doesn't show us where we could actually like put our readme file or something from the beginning. So coming back here to my profile, so we can have a full one according to what I said. So come back to my profile here. Then repositories. Maintenance is bad. So yeah, I have new, right? So it brings me here. So let's just say git, right? Let me call it class git. Okay, git class. Now this is without an underscore, right? Or let me use an hyphen with it this time around. Git class. Okay, it already exists. Git class this way. So now this is optional, a description. Let's want to tell people about it. This is different from the readme file. This is just a short name or a short inspiration or something. Now yeah, I could just pick like public now, remember. Then I'm saying this, I want to add a readme file to it. Now let's create our repository this way. Right, now we can see this one comes with what, a readme file, whereas the other one didn't actually what come with a what readme file. So I can come in now, actually what change this guy. So let me just edit this guy. Then I will commit my changes, right? So exactly this is how everything actually works. Now for those of us that were not comfortable working with terminal, there's another way we can actually work around all this using what, the Git desktop. Now to work with Git desktop, now just go online and search for Git desktop. So we have this. Now you say download Git desktop. So yeah, you can actually download for Windows or actually download for Mac itself. Now but the only OS you can download for here is for Linux. So basically if you're using Linux, you need to like just continue your terminal or find another GUI of Git. Now so when you download this, now you'll be having something like this guy, Git desktop here. So now upon installing it and everything, you can link it to your GitHub account, so it's actually connected to your whole GitHub repository. So I have different ones here. So now let's see how this guy actually works. So the one we just created now, which is the Git class. So let's actually try to clone it with GitHub desktop. Now if I come in now to this part where you have file, now you can see something like a new repository. Now you're creating like a local repository, then before you actually like push it online or something. Remember, we have the local and we have the what, the remote. So here now I'm having this. Now I'm saying what I actually want to what, clone a repository. So clone repository. Now it's going to load up every repository I have for me. Now I can actually now pick, but if the list is too long before you can search for it, just write the name of that repository. So which is what, Git class, right? We have this, so we pick it, Git class. So you actually like pick where you want it to actually stay, where you want it to what, create the location you want to create it at. So I clone. Now remember, if we're using the terminal, we'll say what, git clone, right? Then bring what, the URL, right, inside the what, the folder what I want to what, clone it into. So exactly the same thing, but this time around you don't need to like go to your terminal or anything. Everything has been done for you. Now I could come in now and pick the guy. Where is it? Sorry. Yeah, this. So as you can see, I'm having it here already, Git class, right? So if I come back here now, I could come back here and say open in what, in Visual Studio Code to actually see things running. Now the good thing about this guy is that from here I can actually see every change that has happened. It's to show me like the list of what, of commits. Then when I click on each commit, I can actually see what changes what were actually made, which files were actually what affected. So let's see how this works. Now as you can see, the very first thing is showing me the initial commit that happened, which was like 40 minutes ago, right? It's still refreshing. Now as you can see, it's telling me that what the very first thing I did was what, a file there, which is what, readme.md, and what was inside, the git class, right? Then later on there was another commit, which is what, an update to the what, the readme, right? So let it load. Now as you can see, it's telling me in this update of what, readme.md now, that the current I made another change. And what's the change I made? I added what, this repo is what, it's about explaining what git, this is the new change I actually what added, right? So now if you come to VS Code now, let's see, we say as you can see, we're having our readme file here. So let's just say I'm doing this. So let's say we're having an index.html, right? So we're having this. So I could say sorry. Should be able to make this now. Okay, so let's try it again. Now it's bringing it out. Now if you notice something on this part now, this our index now is coming out with a sign of what, of u, which is what, it means what, untracked, right? Now it means what I'm doing now is what, is being what, untracked. It has not is an untracked what, an untracked change. Now for you to be tracked now, for you to be tracked, I need to say something like git add. Remember we did that in, I showed you in terminal for when we were working with git, said git add. Automatically now I've already tracked, I've already actually stage that certain what, that certain change for what, for a commit. Now it's actually what's being tracked automatically. Now it actually shows you a new what, a new sign. Now let's say I'm saying hello world here, hello world, right? Now coming back here now, I can now say, yeah, in my changes now I could just commit it. Let's say a new file was dead, right? So if I say commit to me now, automatically now this is like me adding, right? I've added and I've what, committed, but I've not pushed. It's not going to git yet. Now if I come back to my VS Code now, let it finish loading. Now as you can see, it's giving me a new sign saying push my commit to what, to the origin of what, of remote, but I'm not doing that yet. I'm coming back to my VS Code. So my VS Code should give like a new. Now as you can see, my VS Code has removed what, the u sign. Now it's no longer saying u, whereby saying what, untracked, right? Now I can actually now say this. I'll say let's say I added a new one and I say hello, my name is Haman, right? Now this guy now changed to M. It's meant to be now, see, it's giving M, which means what, this file has been what modified. The first one now, it was what untracked before. It doesn't even dig my git. So when it was in untracked, it means it didn't even recognize this file as part of that repository. But now when it's in modified, it knows this file is part of this repository. But now the changes, there are some new things in it which were not there before. So it means that what this file has actually what been modified, it has already been tampered with, right? Now if I come back to my GitHub desktop now, I'll be seeing something now. It will show me the change now. Let's load. Now as you can see, it's telling that one change has already occurred. And in what file? The index file, right? Now it's going to show me the changes that just actually what occurred. Now as you can see, I'm having what the new change that occurred is just what this. You can see the line. This is the new change, right? And also if I come back to the history now, the history is not complete yet. Please let it load. Now as you can see, this new one is what a new file was added, right? This is when I created this is when I added what the index file with its content. But now as you can see, it's still showing me this arrow. Why? This commit has not what been pushed to the most repository. It doesn't be pushed the GitHub, right? So this is what was there before. So if I actually push now, the part where I have hello, my name is Aman, won't be part anymore. It will be like a new commit, unless I come back here and also stage that commit. So I could say index file was updated, right? So I could actually commit this guy also. So as I'm committing, this is like the latest change, right? So if I come back to my history now, I'll be able to see like this new commit I actually did. Now this is the sweet thing about Git. This is the interesting part about Git. I can let's say at a point, the new thing I'm pushing now, the new commit I'm actually making now is not actually needed anymore. Let's say it is the old one that is actually needed. It means they can actually like skip through that one and take the new one. That's the essence of the Git. I can actually see every single change that has occurred. Like I can see the main file, then I can see like the change that was actually applied to that file itself. Now if I come to my history now, as you can see, I'm having this, right? So now I can actually like push. Now it's telling me I'm pushing two commits. One commit of a new file was added, right? Now the other commit of index file was updated. Now let us just push. Now upon pushing now, if you come to our browser and check out GitHub now, you'll see these changes have been added to our Git. So let's go back there. Now on our GitHub now, when we refresh our page now as you can see, we're having the index file here, right? Now you can see the total commit we have is 4 altogether. And now what are the 4? We say we have the initial, the update, the new, and the index file that was updated. Now the other thing I can actually show you here again is the branching, which is actually very much easier, and the merging, which is actually even easier here also. So I could come here now and say this is the main branch. Then I could say I want to create a new branch here. Now to do that on the terminal, you say git branch, then the branch name. Now let's just give a branch name of Faisal, okay, and create branch. Now this branch, now I'm creating this branch based on on the main branch. It means everything the main branch has the same thing, my branch will also have. Now let's see how it works out. Now as you can see, the Faisal branch has been created, right? So now if I come back to my VS Code, the same thing automatically, the change occurs there also. The new branch that we'll be seeing here now will be the Faisal branch, right? Now let's say this. I'm now saying let's say index.js, right? So I could say let a equal to file. So I could say let's be equal to can, and I could say alert my name is so as you can see, this is what's on track also. Now we're to run it now. Let's say script src index.js. So let's see how this works out. Now we're having this, my name is Faisal Khan, right? So let's come back to our Git desktop now. As you can see, it's telling me that what in this branch called Faisal now, there are two changes: the index.html and what index or what .js. Now at this point now, if I do this, let's say I'm trying to like go to the main branch, it asks me now, you have to leave, you have changes on this branch. What would you like to do with them? Do I want to leave them on Faisal branch, or I want to bring them to what, to the main branch? Now if I say leave them on Faisal branch, it means it's going to stash it, it's going to like store it temporarily for me, right? If I say I want to bring it along, it's just take it along for me, but I'm not doing neither. So but basically if I'm saying this, I'm coming here, you know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to what, git checkout, right? Git checkout of what, of main. It means I'm trying to what, check out from this branch into the what, the main branch, right? So this is exactly the same thing I'm trying to do, but now it's telling me that what, I have changes on this branch. So if I'm willing to like keep that change, or I'm trying to, or I'm willing to like actually take it along to what, to the main branch, that's what it's asking me here. So let me just cancel. Now at this point now, I could just say this now. Let's say commit. Let me just say the commit I want to make is I added a JavaScript file, right? Then I commit to what, Faisal, not to main this time around, commit to what, my own branch, right? So now anything I do to my branch now doesn't have to do with what, the main code base itself, which is the main branch, unless I'm trying to what, merge together. Now let's see, we should have that soon. Now let's refresh. Okay, now the reason why this guy is not there yet now is because I haven't published my branch. So let's publish my branch to Git first. So it's just on my local machine. The branch is just on my local machine, it's not yet on Git. So I push my branch what, and it changes to what, to GitHub. So fetch. So everything is now, as you can see, it's telling me that what, let me refresh. Yeah, now as you can see, the number of branches will change. Let's look completely. It's changed to what, 2 branches, right? But now this main branch doesn't have what, the changes that actually what have. Now for this main branch, I actually have the changes I have now. I'll come back to this my Git desktop and say this. Now here, I come back here and say what, I click on main, right? Now it's no longer asking me that question because I've already uncommitted and do everything. Now, coming here now, if I say this, choose a branch to what merge into what the main branch. Then I'll pick what the what Faisal branch. Now, as you can see, it's telling me now this merge, this will merge what one commit from what Faisal into main. Now, assuming there is going to be like conflict, it will tell you for me that there's a conflict inside what from either file. Now, is either you're actually trying to go to, trying to manually resolve the conflict by opening the file in your VS Code and removing the parts that is not needed, or automatically you can give it the command that which file you should keep, which one should you what ignore. So I could just do this merge. So everything I have now, the main branch also have. So I could just what push. So this is where we'll be. So guys, we have actually come to an end on our video on Git. So to actually recap, we have actually covered the basics of Git, including installation, essential commands, working with repositories, branching, merging, and resolving conflicts, and even using the GitHub. I also showed you how to use the GitHub desktop for those of us that are not comfortable with terminals. So you can actually practice these skills in your projects to become a proficient in Git. So for further learning, you can actually check out the resources linked in the description. Thank you for watching and happy coding. So don't forget to like, subscribe,